What's up, dummies? We're about to react to the most disturbing planets ever found. This shows a bunch of different planets. What the hell is that one? Is that actually a planet that looks like a skull? But we're about to figure out some crazy stuff about some crazy planets that we never heard of.
HD
Try not to get scared. Let's go.
188,753 AB.
Huh?
HD 188,753 AB.
This dude, there's a planet named HD 188. That's so stupid. Let's figure out what this is.
If you were standing on the surface of this planet, you would witness something that seems impossible. The sun would set over the horizon, only to be immediately followed by a second sun and then a third one. This planet is the first one ever reported in a tight triple star system, meaning that it has not one, not two, but three suns.
This thing got three suns. You know how awesome it would be to live there, bro? I love the sun. I go outside, I get tan. That's why everyone says I look like a tomato, because I sit outside in the sun. Imagine if we had three suns, bro. That's dope.
More specifically, there is a main yellow star, very similar to our own sun. And then, orbiting nearby are two smaller stars that—
How is this disturbing, though? He said this is the most disturbing planets. Is he clickbaiting us? If he clickbaited, I'm clickbaiting. I don't care. I'm keeping the same title. That's what I do. Let's see if this gets disturbing.
Around each other, both circling the main yellow star. If you could survive on a hypothetical moon orbiting this giant, your shadow would split into three different directions, and true darkness might never come as the different suns took turns lighting up the sky. Its existence also raised an unsolved scientific mystery. The planet itself is a gas giant, slightly heavier than Jupiter, and it's so close to its stars that it completes a full lap around the main one in just 3.5 days. It's this proximity that creates the unsolved problem. According to the rules of how planets form, gas giants are supposed to grow far away from their stars in cold areas.
Okay, this guy's just rambling, bro. Let's go to the next one.
HD 80,660.
But why are these planets named HD 1080? Where are these numbers? Who's naming this stuff? All right, let's see if this one's disturbing.
This planet is also known as the whiplash planet, and you'll soon understand why. Here, the weather can go from freezing cold to an explosion of extreme heat within hours. That's because while most planets, including Earth, travel in a nice, steady circle around their star, this planet follows a path that is incredibly stretched out, looking more like the orbit of a comet than a planet. For about 100 days, it drifts far away from its sun, floating in the freezing cold darkness. But then, it begins a terrifying dive. In a span of just 20 hours, it blasts toward its star, swings around it at a dangerously close distance, and then slingshots back out into the void. This close approach is violent. The planet gets so close that if the Earth were in that position, our atmosphere would be ripped away and the surface would be instantly melted into magma.
Bro, so this planet, he said for like 120 days, it's just frozen. And then like in 20 hours, it just goes, vroom, and it just gets super hot. What's wrong with that planet,
For this planet, the approach acts like a sudden explosion of energy. In just 6 hours, the temperature on the side facing the star skyrockets from roughly 932 degrees Fahrenheit to over 2,000. The star blasts the planet with more than 1,000 times the energy the Earth
imagine if you lived there,
If you were
bro.
floating in the cloud tops, you would watch the sun swell up rapidly until it looked 30 times larger than it does in our sky. This sudden flash frying triggers what scientists call shockwave storms. Because the heat hits so fast, the atmosphere cannot handle it, and winds erupt from the hot zone at speeds
Bro,
of
yeah, you do not want to be on that planet, bro.
PSRB 1257
Okay, I want to see this one.
plus 12.
What the fuck? The name is PSRB 1257 plus 12. Who the hell added 12 at the end of the name, dude? Okay, I gotta see if this planet is actually a bunch of skulls. That would be so creepy, dude.
Astronomers named this star and its planets after monsters and the undead, and for good reason. The central star, named Lich, after a fictional creature that uses magic to control the dead, is a pulsar, which is a type of neutron star that acts like a lighthouse in space. It spins incredibly fast, rotating about 160 times every single second. It is also incredible.
This planet spins 160 times a second. What the Imagine you were on that planet, bro. It'd be like the best roller coaster ever. You just,
with temperatures reaching nearly 52,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
This planet is 52,000 degrees hot? I thought the other one was hot when he said 2,000 degrees. Dude, imagine whenever you like cook a pizza in the oven, it's like 400 degrees. And then when you grab the pizza, you know how the heat is just like, it's like, oh my God, that's hot as hell. And you gotta shut the oven. This is 51,800 more than a pizza.
Orbiting it are 3 planets that were the very first exoplanets ever confirmed, discovered back in the early 90s. To help you understand why they're called zombie planets, here's what would happen if you stood on one. You would be bathed in constant deadly radiation from the star that sterilizes everything.
Oh my God, that's what would happen to your face if you were on this planet? You just like lose all your skin? Why do they call it zombie planets?
Looking up at the sky would be maddening. Since the star spins so fast while shooting out beams of energy, it would not look like a steady sun. It would look like a violent strobe light flashing 160 times a second, lighting up the alien landscape in a rapid fire pulse. These planets are basically zombies themselves. They likely formed from the debris left over after two white dwarf stars crashed into each other and merged billions of years ago. Tres 2b.
Okay,
Tres
what?
2b is
That
a gas
looks
and merged
dope.
billions of years ago. Tres 2b.
This is the coolest looking one we've seen so far. If I was on a planet that looked like this, bro, that would be fire. All right, let's see what's disturbing about
Tres
this
2b is a gas giant similar in size to Jupiter, but it looks nothing like the planets in our own system. In 2011, astronomers identified it as the darkest exoplanet ever discovered. This alien world is basically pitch black, reflecting less than...
that is dope. A pitch black planet, dude?
1% of the light that falls on it. This makes it darker than a piece of coal or even black acrylic paint. What makes this more disturbing...
How could something be blacker than black paint? That means it's blacker than we even
we're not
know.
100% sure of why it's this dark. Nonetheless, we know that it's so close to its star that the temperature on the surface is over 1,790 degrees Fahrenheit. This intense heat means that reflective clouds made of ammonia simply cannot form. Instead, the atmosphere is likely filled with light-absorbing chemicals like vaporized sodium,
Vaporized
potassium,
and potassium? What? Imagine the clouds on our Earth was a bunch of potassium and salt. Like bananas and salt in the clouds. What the hell?
Gaseous titanium oxide. However, even these chemicals cannot fully explain why the planet is as black as it is.
Yeah, why is it so black?
Remains a mystery. If you were to float near it, though, you likely wouldn't see a totally black sphere. Since the planet is so hot, it emits a faint and dim red glow. It would look like a giant burning ember or the hot coils of an electric stove floating in the void. WASP 17b. WASP 17b, also called Ditso.
Is this called wasp because there's a bunch of wasps on the planet that come and sting you?
A name from Talamancan mythology referring to a god who gave names to the first people, is one of the weirdest planets in space. Two things make this planet pretty peculiar. One is that it was the first discovered planet with a retrograde orbit. In almost every star system we observe, planets travel around their star in the same direction that the star itself spins. However, Ditso moves in the completely opposite direction. This discovery shocked scientists because it challenged the traditional rules of how planets form, suggesting that this world had a violent history. Astronomers believe it may have been thrown into this...
How could a planet have a violent history?
Backward loop after a near collision with another planet or a gravitational struggle that flung it off its original path. The second thing is that despite the planet being a huge monster, being almost twice as wide as Jupiter, thus making it one of the largest planets ever found, it's incredibly light, with just half of Jupiter's mass. This makes it extremely puffy, with a density so low that if you could find a bathtub big enough to hold it, the entire planet would float on water like a beach ball. However, this planet isn't innocuous. Its atmosphere...
Who the hell figured that out? That if you put the planet in a bathtub, it would float. How do you know for sure? Y'all just making stuff up.
Here is a nightmare of heat and glass. And in 2023, the James Webb Space Telescope detected clouds made of quartz. Because the planet is scorching hot, with temperatures around 2,700 degrees.
Dude, that's nothing compared to 50,000, that last planet, dude. 2,000 is nothing.
Fahrenheit, these crystals form directly from gas. WASP 127b.
Why are all these things called WASP, bro? I hate wasps.
Here of this planet is being ripped around at speeds that break every planetary record we know. On here, winds scream around the equator at up to 20,500 miles per hour, fast enough to cross Earth from one side to the other in well under an hour. This is the fastest jet stream ever measured on a planet. Also, that wind is incredibly hot. The planet is a gas giant that's close enough to its star that 1 year is just 4 days, and its atmosphere...
1 year is 4 days, bro? So if people lived on that planet, they could be like, oh, what's up? How old are you? And then they'd be like, 5,000 years old, because they've been, oh my God.
The atmosphere is around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Astronomers discovered these winds by watching...
Imagine having a 19,845th birthday. That would be dope to live on that planet, where you get birthday party every 4 days.
Starlight passes through the planet's atmosphere during a transit. Part of the gas was moving toward us, part moving away, both at enormous speed. The only explanation that fits is a powerful supersonic jet stream racing around the equator. These winds move almost 6 times faster than the planet itself rotates. For comparison, the fastest winds ever measured in our own solar system on Neptune are only about 1,100 miles per hour.
That's still fast
on
as
WASP
hell.
127b, that would count as a gentle breeze. The planet's weather is not uniform either. Observations show that the poles are cooler than the rest of the planet, and there is even a measurable temperature difference between the morning side and the evening side. Gliese, 430.
Okay, this is the one I wanted to see, low key, bro. That looks stupid. What is that? It kind of looks cool, actually, now that I think about it. Looks like a meatball, dude, with a bunch of white stuff in it. Oh, God.
36b. The phrase hot burning ice sounds like a paradox, but
What?
strange as it sounds, it's actually happening on
Hot
Gliese
ice?
436b. This planet is also known as Awahali, which is the Cherokee word for eagle. The name is perfect because of a legend where an eagle flies to the sun and the sun kisses its tail feather. That is exactly what is happening here
What?
because the star is blasting the planet with so much radiation that it has created a gigantic cloud of hydrogen gas trailing behind it. This tail is longer than 8 million miles, making the planet look more like a colossal comet. It is losing its air at a terrifying rate because it sits dangerously close to the star.
Wait, so what's going to happen whenever it loses all of its air? Is it going to explode?
Only about 3% of the distance between Earth and the Sun. Also, while the planet is roughly the size of Neptune, it behaves in a way that breaks the rules of a normal solar system. Instead of circling around the middle or equator of the star like a normal planet, it travels over the star's poles, moving in a nearly vertical, perpendicular loop.
It's just
It is
having
literally
fun.
orbiting sideways compared to how it should be. The paradox we talked about previously is because while the temperature is around 820 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead, scientists believe the interior might be made of hot ice. The gravity and pressure are so crushing that water is squeezed
What the
into a
hell
solid
is
state,
hot
even though it is
ice?
burning hot. The atmosphere is also chemically wrong, filled with carbon monoxide instead of the methane that models predict should be there. Astronomers believe this planet did not start out this way. It is likely that a hidden massive companion planet pushed it out of its safe orbit and
What?
threw it into this dangerous path, forcing it to be slowly eaten alive by its own star while the culprit hides in the dark. KOI 55. KOI 55 is a
That just
planet
looks
that
like the
survived
sun.
the impossible, being eaten alive. It orbited a star known as a subdwarf B star, which was so hot that it burned nearly 6 times hotter than the sun. Then, 18 million years ago, this star expanded even more and turned into a red giant. When this happened, KOI 55 didn't just get close to the burning star, but it actually plunged deep inside the star's layers.
Wait, what happens if a planet eats another planet? Because I used to play a game called like Agario, where like if you were like a circle and you tried to eat other circles. What happens if a planet gets eaten by another planet?
Was basically eaten alive, swallowed whole by a massive ball of plasma. The star stripped away and evaporated all the gas, but something weird happened. Most planets would be completely destroyed immediately, but this one survived. Nowadays, only its burnt and rocky core
that's
remains.
a crazy
and to make you
story to
understand
tell.
how badly the star scorched the planet, even after millions of years, its temperature is still around 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit. If you were to teleport to the surface, you would likely vaporize into a cloud of atoms faster than your brain could process that you had arrived. The planet is now smaller than Earth and orbits its star incredibly fast, completing a full year in less than 6 hours.
Every 6 hours is a full year? What the bro, so you would like wake up, you know, do your dishes, do your work, and then you would be 3 years older by the time you go to sleep. What the
LTT 9779b.
What?
You are probably used to thinking
That's
of
the
clouds as
weirdest
being
name.
white, vaporous, and fluffy, but the clouds on this planet are made of metal and glass. This
Metal clouds, bro. I'm never going there in my life, bro. Imagine looking up and it's just straight metal in the
planet
sky.
is officially named Quanqua, also known as the Mirror Planet. That's because it's actually the most reflective planet ever discovered. Due to those clouds, it acts like a massive mirror in space, bouncing back about 73% of all
it
the light
is a
that hits
mirror.
it. It's also the reason why telescopes struggle to detect specific signals from deep within the planet.
Because it just bounces back because it's a mirror, bro. So you can't even see what's on the planet because it's just a mirror. It's just going to mirror back what's...
As its metal-dense atmosphere acts like a metallic blanket. It's roughly the size of Neptune, but it is nothing like the cold blue giants in our...
So nobody knows what's actually underneath that planet because when we look at it, it just is a mirror. But under the mirror could be something crazy. What if there was an advanced civilization on that planet who built the mirror outside of their planet so then nobody would even see them? Because you know, sometimes in like police buildings, they have like a mirror, right? There'll be a mirror on the wall, but really, on the other side of the mirror, they can see you, but you'd think it's a mirror Creepy stuff.
Quankoa is what scientists call an ultra-hot Neptune because it sits dangerously close to its star. In fact, it is so close that it finishes a full orbit in less than 24 hours, and the star is basically cooking the planet alive.
Don't we complete a full orbit in 24 hours? Am I tripping?
Temperatures on
Let
the
me know in
side
the comments.
facing the star soar to over 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's
Matter of
nothing
fact,
compared to
this
that
planet
one.
should not have existed in the first place. It
Why?
lies in what astronomers call the Neptunian Desert, a region close to a star where planets of this size usually cannot survive because intense radiation strips away their atmosphere. However, since Quankoa's atmosphere is this heavy with metals, it does not puff out effectively. Fomalhaut B. Dagon.
What the? I said the last one was the weirdest name. Fomalhaut B. Dagon. That's a planet? That's dope.
Imagine discovering a new planet, taking a picture of it, and naming it, only to watch it slowly fade away until
Who the hell named it, bro?
It completely vanishes into the darkness. This is the story of Fomalhaut B, also known as Dagon, a planet just 25 light-years away, making it the closest one featured in this video. When astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope announced its discovery in 2008, it was a historic moment because it was one of the very first planets to be seen directly in a photograph. Usually, planets are found indirectly by looking at how a star wobbles or dims, but this one was caught on camera as a tiny dot of light moving through a ring of debris. However, as scientists continued to watch it over the years, the planet started doing things that made no sense. It was not glowing with heat like a massive planet should, and instead of staying on a stable path, it appeared to be drifting away from its star. By 2014, the dot had faded so much that it was gone. A study published in 2020 finally solved the mystery.
What the hell does that
Fomalhaut
piece of
B
paper
was
say?
never a planet at all. It was actually a massive, expanding cloud of fine dust created by a cosmic crash. Two giant icy asteroids, each about 120 miles wide, had likely smashed into each other at incredibly high speeds just before the first photos were taken.
So it was never a planet the whole time?
The bright spot astronomers saw was the debris from this explosion spreading out into space. Kelt 9b. 670 light-years away from us,
Wait, did I just see? Wait, look at the next one, bro.
Kelt 9b.
This thing got sad face. How does the next one have a sad face? The name is PSOJ 13.5-22. I would be sad too if that was my name. All right, let's watch this. I want to see what that last one is.
670 light-years away from us, there's a gas giant that is 3 times heavier than Jupiter, and it's so hot that even molecules like water and carbon dioxide get...
I don't give a damn about this planet, bro. I want to see the one with the sad face.
PSOJ 318.5-22. This is what's called a rogue planet, and the sun never rises here. That's because there's actually no sun at all. PSOJ 318.5-22 is one of the loneliest places in space. Unlike the Earth, which circles the sun, or Jupiter, which circles its own star, this massive object does not orbit anything. It was likely kicked out of its home system shortly after it formed, or perhaps it formed all by itself, leaving it to float forever in the empty void between stars. You might think that a planet without a star would be a frozen ball of ice, but this world is actually a burning furnace. It is roughly the size of Jupiter, but it is much heavier, packing 8 times as much mass into the same space. Because it is very young in cosmic terms, only about 23 million years old.
23 million years old? That's young? Yeah, right.
It still glows with the intense heat from its creation. Telescopes have watched the planet change brightness, which tells scientists that it is covered in thick, stormy clouds that rotate around the planet every few hours.
How do you know that, though? How do you know that? I mean, it makes sense that there's a bunch of storms there. It's basically the planet is crying, dude. That's what the rain is, bro. It's the world crying. Because this planet has no friends. There's no one near it. I feel bad.
However, these are not clouds made of water vapor. They are made of hot dust and molten metal. Recent studies using the James Webb Space Telescope suggest that the highest clouds are made of tiny grains of quartz or sand. Deeper down, there are heavy clouds made of liquid iron.
Liquid iron clouds and sand clouds. That's the dumbest planet ever. No wonder it's crying. That's so crazy.